you are listening to Dr. Troy Munson. With words of radiance, now here is your host, Dr. Munson.
Hello and welcome, I'm Dr. Troy Munson. I've been working with client after client after client because there's so much fear running around. In that sense, I want to quickly reiterate again how fear is generated in the mind and how we have to attach an unhappy story to it. Or rather, just a story and then decide what that story means to us. So let's run through that. Case in point, I had a client come in and we were chatting about their child, and their child was going in for testing and possibly getting this diagnosis that was not a pleasant diagnosis at all. And my client immediately began to tear up and really almost start to sob. In a moment, I paused and I waited, and then when I interjected the thought, I said, "Now, why does the tear fall?" I never want to allow one tear in my office to fall without questioning it, and neither should you. And here's why. Because of the sadness that was created at that moment, there had to be an unhappy story associated with it. So I literally told my client, I said, "Now, I can see it in your eyes. You just went down and you lived an entire lifetime in less than a second watching your child develop whatever disease you think it is and not live out a fruitful life in your opinion, and everything that was going to happen to them, as well as what you were going to have to go through, your family was going to have to go through, maybe people ridiculing your child and what they were going to do and what your child was supposedly or possibly going to experience, and then the possibility that your other children could genetically be linked to it and also have it, and you ran their lives too down to ad nauseum, and when you saw that story, you became sad. And my client's whole countenance changed, and they said, "Oh my God, I did all of that in a split second." And they saw it clearly one time. And her eyes immediately dried up. And all of a sudden she was back in reality. Because the moment that we run that story, we are now living in a fictitious world, because our brain created that imagery, that movie that went the entire lifetime of that child. And now they're living in it, in an unhappy supposed future. And it is rampant in us. Anytime you have a negative emotion, it's how you should instantly realize, I have created an unreality. I have created a fantasy for myself and I'm living in it. Because right here, right now, if you're sitting here listening to my voice, you don't have any issues. You're just simply sitting there. Maybe you're doing the dishes, or maybe you're driving. Maybe you're having an argument with your spouse and you turn this on. Maybe you're both sitting there heated at each other and angry because of what you believe just happened in your mind with the other and what it's going to lead to the next few hours or days in your relationship. And so you've chosen to be mad about that or sad about that or whatever it is. And yet we can change instantly right now if we will allow it. But you must remain in the present moment. So if you're there with the story right now that you're thinking about, I'm going to invite you back to the present moment where there is stillness, where there is peace, where there is infinite love and joy right here, right now. God is not the God of I will be or the God of I was. He is the I am, the full presence now. That is where your happiness will forever remain. Whenever you have become unhappy, be rest assured you have projected yourself into the uncertain future, or you are living in the past about the regrets, the shame, the guilt, the pain, and you have decided to suffer. I'm going to ask you to not suffer anymore. Suffering is optional in this life. It need not be. But if you suck yourself into the future or the past, you will suffer. Now, you don't have to. You can stop right here, right now, in suffering, and simply be present and fully accept where you are right now, even if it looks like a bad diagnosis that you've received, even if it looks like your spouse is leaving you, even if it looks like a child is on their deathbed or a parent or whatever's going on in your life. You can still be right here, right now, and not miss a thing. Because if you project yourself in the future of what that spouse or child or condition or whatever it is, you now cannot be happy right now. You're already there in the pain of the suffering. Why don't you just choose to be here right now with those of us that want to be present and have unlimited joy, unlimited peace, unlimited happiness forever and ever? That's how it's done. So I wanted you to see how fear translates one more time in another podcast. Decide today to be present more and more and to live in the now and to live where power is, where joy is, where peace is, and not somewhere else where you really are not. So I hope this hit home. If you have questions, concerns, comments, love to hear it, love to hear from you, love to hear that this is changing you, that my gosh, I have more peace in my life. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy because I'm not sucking it away, being miserable and suffering over something that isn't true by an unhappy story that I've created in my own mind.